Okay, over to this. We're getting reports on 2 new attacks on commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. One tanker was apparently hit while another projectile exploded in the water right next to another ship.
We're going to go back to Steve Harrigan with the latest from Tel Aviv.
That's right. Initially, it was Iran state television claiming that they attacked 2 oil tankers yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, British maritime experts are confirming that 2 tankers were attacked, at least 1 was hit, and 4 of them turned around. So this is a sign of continuing attacks against commercial shipping in the Strait, something the U.S., of course, wants to stop, and it's something President Trump has cited in his decision that he's considering about perhaps launching major strikes against Iran once again. Those strikes could begin as early as this weekend. They could last several days. Here's President Trump.
We'll be hitting them. We'll be hitting them very hard. And at some point, they're going to say, we just can't take it anymore.
That decision comes after a great deal of frustration with time given for diplomacy to work. Despite that timeout, Iran has continued to attack both commercial shipping, as we've just seen, and also U.S. military positions in the region. Here's what President Trump said about trying to make a deal with the Iranians.
I'm losing faith in them because they do lie and they do misrepresent. Well, the other day, the 5 missiles were shot. We knocked them down, but we were in the midst of a negotiation. I mean, I'm waiting for Steve to call me. How's the negotiation going? And instead, I got a call from Pete that they just shot 5 missiles at one of our bases in Jordan.
There's definitely a sense here on the ground that things could be heating up. The U.S. Embassy here warning Americans to stay away from the region. If they are already here, they should consider going home. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, and Steve, British Maritime sort of giving us some of those details, saying both of these ships that seem to have been targeted were fairly close to the shore of Oman. And that certainly would add complexity to the situation as President Trump decides whether or not to strike.
Certainly, these are targets on commercial navigation. There's a belief not only in the U.S. but worldwide that this should be an area of free trade, not controlled by any country, and certainly not attacked by any country. It's an attack also that could prove to spike oil prices in the short term. So some real repercussions and anger from this attack, and we might see that as part of a reason for a U.S. response.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
You know, we've seen, some division around the world about the original plan to go after the nuke program in Iran. But one of the things I don't think that there is much division about is whether or not ships can pass freely through the Strait of Hormuz. Every single country in the world is invested in making sure the Strait of Hormuz is free to a free and open and fair trade through there. And, and Iran maybe, thinking that they can kind of play some games because of politics going on in the United States of America. But if this is going to be their strategy, I think they're going to wind up with not only the United States, but and not only their neighbors who want free passage through that area, but also countries around the world getting involved to want to make sure that that strait remains open.
Yeah, and you remember early on, the president noted that. He said, listen, this isn't just for America. This is about the entire world, and everyone should be on board to not only denuclearize, but as you say, Charlie, make sure the strait is open. It does feel like, though, this is sort of all Iran has left. This is their only leverage point at all, is the strait, right? And so I think we're probably going to see more of this happen. They're going to hang on until the bitter end. But as we heard from the president at Camp David, he's willing to take it to him even harder if he has to.
Yeah, and clearly Iran thinks they have leverage with the Strait of Hormuz, but President Trump has made very clear that is not ultimately going to be something that they will have. Meanwhile, have you seen these images coming out of the top?
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.